London Continental Railways, which is essentially a government body, owns the other half.
What is the area in the dotted lines? Like how much is the area?
67 acres. 67 acres, yeah. That was the best version of the dotted line I could do. So today, photo taken this year, that site looks like this, obviously very, very different. Essentially in the early 2000s, those two landowners went to market to find a development partner, and we were selected as a development partner, and then the three parties together formed the King's Cross Partnership as the developer of the site. The London Continental Railways have now since sold on, but they were with the partnership for 10 years. Today the largest shareholder is Australian superannuation, the largest superannuation pension funds in the world, and they own about 74% of the estate. This is what it used to look like. So this is 1948. Again, we are sat in here. The gallery building, which you see in the two railway sheds. So as you can see, this was like the major industrial site for London Railways. It's where all the goods from the north of England came down to London and were then distributed onto the canal and horse and carts. So it was a very major industrial place. And then sort of post the Industrial Revolution, obviously for 30 years, it kind of became a bit of a forgotten place as less and less goods were transported via that way. And probably in the year 2000 was a bit of a no-go area. Wasn't necessarily unsafe, but there was nothing to do. It was derelict land. So essentially, what we've done is taken a place for goods, closed off, just using forgotten, and it's been reinvented and reimagined, principally for people. And our kind of big ethos is that cities are for people, and that if you can get people to turn up to places, they'll probably be successful. The main point. There's a short video now which shows you, it was actually produced a couple of years ago, but it shows you the kind of journey of construction that King's Cross went on.
How was the ownership of the land transferred from railways to the real estates?
It wasn't. The owners of the land came into partnership with us. So we the three parties together, us and the two landowners, we went together in partnership. So it wasn't transferred.
It was a JV.
Yeah.
JV created. They were the owners, they were the developers. So the investment for the development would have come from your side.
Yeah, so they put in the land and we put in some money to match the land.
Yes.
So as you can see, all of those events, all of the estate now is kind of enlivened by people. The team here, we have an asset management team of about 50 people who work day to day running the estate, and we host around 150 to 200 events in the estate a year, so 3, 4 a week. Some of them are tiny, some of them are really big, and we use the whole estate to kind of enliven, and that's all paid for through the service charge. We have now a footfall in excess of 20 million people a year come to the estate, and it's very much a place for people. So we have different summer events, outdoor cinemas, always prioritising pedestrians over cars. We use the square to hold different. This was a climate change event, and then we have summer sounds events, concerts, the fountains out the front there, which are turned off today because it's quite cold. But in the summer, hundreds and hundreds of children playing on those fountains. There's day-to-day activity, and we hold various different event enlivenment. So all of this stuff, I think, building the buildings is just one part of it. Actually, kind of creating the environment that people and the events program that people want to engage with is the really kind of is where the real skill, I think. We kind of think of it like a theatre. So we spend a lot of time building the theatre, but ultimately people go to the theatre to watch what happens on the stage, not just stare at the stage. Also the ground floor, so we now have about 100 different retailers at King's Cross. Food and beverage has become kind of very well known here. We have queues of people going into every restaurant, so if you want to book into one of the restaurants, it's probably 6 weeks or so in advance you need to book into most of the restaurants here. And then we also have a real commitment to kind of community in place. Most of these things that you'll see on the screen no longer, well, the pool and the baseball, they don't exist. They were here as we were going through on the vacant land. We were doing meanwhile uses, but the things we do kind of week in, week out are things like the market on the right hand side. Just to give you an idea, so 67 acres, it has about 8 million square feet of gross mixed use development, 10 public spaces, 26 acres of public space out of the 57, and about 2,000 homes, just under 2,000 homes, new homes, and about 4.25 million square feet of office space. We've never finished a square foot of office space on this estate without it being leased. We've never finished it. We've never had an empty square foot of floor space.
What is this 8 million square feet of gross mixed use? What do you mean by gross mixed use?
So gross means gross floor area, so total external envelope of development, and then mixed use means across all the use classes. So when you add up all of the development, all of the space that we've built here, it's 8 million square feet of development.
I see lots of
67 acres.
The estate has a retained value now, and it's very close to £4 billion, and we're actually completing the vertical development. In 2021, the estate was certified as carbon neutral, so we now are operationally carbon neutral. We're actually pursuing to get a net zero certification as well. We built, run and operate our own energy centre here, so all of the buildings, heating and cooling is done through a central energy system that runs on biogas, so it's energy, carbon neutral in its operation day to day. All the vehicles are electric, all the waste is recycled, so the whole estate can run completely off grid. So it doesn't need the main energy grid for heating or electricity.
How do you get this bioresource so much that you are able to run the plant to run this all this?
The biogas, we import biogas.
You import biogas?
Yeah. And we have 3 large energy engines that basically heat the hot water that goes with big pipes of boiling water that go into each building that do heating and hot water. And the steam from those also generates a lot of electricity, which is topped up by photovoltaic panels on the roofs.
The residential value is now £1,600 per square feet.
Yeah, about that.
Per square feet.
Correct, yeah.
Is this really sort of that much costly?
As much as that? Yeah, I mean, so the highest we've sold on the estate is 3,500. An average building is probably about, that's probably a bit old, probably about 1,800 per square foot is probably the residential value. Office rents are about £100 a square foot. They started, the first building we sold was
£100 square feet per year for
office rents. And I guess, our kind of focus on people is all about driving value. We very much believe that, particularly in today's world, if you're in a place where people want to be, then that will drive value. Social value, economic value, environmental value. So I think the reviews, when you see people sort of saying King's Cross is buzzing with people in a way that feels very good, that's actually kind of a real vote of confidence to employers to bring their business here. That's where people want to live, and it allows the retailers obviously to do very well, the shops and food and restaurants. So our major use here is workspace. It's about twice as much office space, natural gas cooking, although that's something we're trying to move away from, to move to electric. But the energy centre is that what your question is?
I was talking about the tubes.
Yes, so this is a railway station and a tube station.
It was already a railway station, later on it was station.
So it's already, yes. The history was that King's Cross, so King's Cross is the best connected train station in the whole of London. in 2005, when London won the 2012 Olympics, they moved the Paris, the Channel Tunnel which goes to Paris, they moved it from Waterloo to King's Cross, which made it even more the best connected. So it is an international and domestic and the rest of the country national railway station, and by far the most connected site in the whole station in the whole of London.
Biggest section.
This place was infested with crime, people say 25-30 years back, this was area, and now it's very much secure.
Yeah.
And wells and everything used to be there, prevalent 30 years back.
Yeah. But that's mainly because there was no one here, so there was no one to oversee. So we run an entire security kind of concierge. You won't have seen them as you were walking in, but there is concierge trained security. They don't look like security guards. They're there to welcome people. I think security guards can be quite off-putting. They can make people feel quite intimidated. But so our security guards don't dress like security guards, but ultimately their primary function is safety. But then, whilst they're there, they'll also be there to help point people in the right direction or do whatever they can to help. But yeah, so we have a full team. And so when there was no one here, what the buildings looked like, and we had to then get the government, the planning authority had to kind of say yes, that's okay. But
अच्छी चीज़ ये है सर, हर एक पॉपुलेशन के लिए उन्होंने बुढ़े भी हैं सर इसमें, बच्चों के खेलने के लिए भी है, यंग के लिए भी है, तो टारगेट एक है सर फुटबॉल इज अकॉर्डिंगली कोई भी आएगा स्टोर तो चलेगा वो इसलिए क्योंकि वो हर तरह के लोगों को
7 एकर्स में सबसे ताजुब की बात की 24-27 एकड़ इन्होंने
Public places. 27 acres which is less for public places is basically parks or like